Hey now, this is your girl, Traveling Frugalista. I'm with my girl, the Travel Sister. We're here to bring our next tea bag of the week. Now, without further wait, who might the tea bag of the week be?
It is time to acknowledge openly that much of Europe and the United States have been built from the vast wealth harvested from the sweat, tears, blood, and horrors of the Transatlantic Slave Trade and the centuries of colonial exploitation. Maybe we should also admit that it cannot be easy to build confident and prosperous societies from nations that for centuries have their natural resources looted and their peoples traded as commodities. For centuries, the world has been unwilling and unable to confront the realities of the consequences of the slave trade. But gradually, this is changing, and it is time to bring the subject of reparations firmly to the fore. Granted, the current generations are not the ones that engaged in the slave trade, but that grand inhuman enterprise was state-sponsored and deliberate, and its benefits are clearly interwoven with the present-day economic architecture of the nations that designed and executed it. Reparations must be paid for the slave trade.
Girl, I know this is going to ruffle a few feathers, but I don't care because the truth is the truth. What say you on why you thought he should be the tea bag of the week?
Oh, girl, this one is deep and it's complicated. So, I think there's no question that reparations do need to be paid for the slave trade. But if they're going to be paid, they need to be paid to those of us that are in the DOS community in the United States, the Caribbean, and elsewhere. The people who are descended from those who actually were enslaved. This idea that others should be able to piggyback on the, very vocal and lively reparation discussion that's being had by those of us that are in the United States who are actively involved in the reparation discussion. It's very problematic. How do you in fact try to say that reparations should be paid? Are you going to pay them? Because let's be honest, there were many West African countries that were actively involved in the slave trade, and really it muddies the water for them to be involved in the discussion. Those of us who are most innocent in all of this are the ones who should be the most vocal and should be at the forefront of any claim for reparations.
Whew, girl, you just said a mouthful. What I know, when I first saw this, I was actually watching, it was in the French news. And I was like, wait, I think I heard this wrong. Maybe I'm translating in my mind wrong. So I said, let me go to the English news just to confirm that I'm hearing him talking about the African country, specifically Ghana, deserves some type of reparations. Well, we all know that the present day Ghana, present day Nigeria, were two of the biggest slave trading regions voluntarily. Like they was kidnapping Africans and shipping them abroad. And if we get honest, which people don't really like to do when we're talking about this, the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, didn't stop because them and Akons, Ashantis got a conscience. No, it's because white people was like, we can make more money off of breeding them ourselves or by doing something else. We can cut out the middleman. So now he want to jump on the bandwagon because those of us in the diaspora, whether it's in the Caribbean, where they have their reparations movement, or those of us in the U.S. have our reparations movement, now they want to come and jump and say they entitled to reparations. Girl, this actually made me livid. I'm like, this is just another example of Ghana specifically and President Nana trying to grift off of those of us that his people sold. Girl, I wish somebody could just go. Remember a long time ago when somebody threw that shoe at George Bush? I wish somebody at the UN would have threw a shoe at him. Been like, get out of here with that. Let me Sandman him out like I on the Apollo. I ain't got nothing else to say.
Well, the thing that I thought that was most interesting in this is that he started off his discussion talking about how the African continent has been greatly affected by the slave trade and colonization, which we all know to be true. The effects are definitely here and they definitely can be seen. But at the very end, he only discusses the slave trade and he doesn't say anything about colonization. Why? That was just very odd to me. Once again, it's an attempt to piggyback on this reparation movement that has been started by the diaspora. And it's problematic for me.
Absolutely, girl. We're going to dive into this on a full session of the tea down the line because the situation surrounding diasporas in Ghana is definitely worthy of several tea sessions. But for now, this is just a quick little hit it and quit it tea bag of the week. So we look forward to seeing you on our next session of the African Tea.